Where are you from?
Bhutan,
Italy,
Iraq,
UK, Fiji, Mexico,
Romania,
Rwanda,
Japan,
Grenada,
India,
Brazil.
Is it still worth it to immigrate to Canada today?
I think no.
I think overall, yes.
Can I say both yes and no?
Have you ever thought about what it's like to move to Canada? Or if it's even worth it to move here right now? In this video, I interviewed immigrants from Toronto and Vancouver and asked them what challenges they face living here, how their lives have improved since they moved here, and if it's still worth it to immigrate here today. Is it still worth it to immigrate to Canada today?
Honestly, me personally, I think no. It's really tough in Canada, especially Vancouver, Toronto. It's extremely difficult to live. Like after you pay your taxes, after everything is said and done, even if you make $100,000 a year, it's not enough to live.
That's nothing.
It doesn't make it through, right? Like after your rent, after everything is said and done, I just feel like in Canada, you're always trying to get to the next step, but it always feels like one step forward is two steps back. I love Canada, don't get me wrong. It's been great for me.
It has its ups and downs.
Ups and downs, but lately, the cost of living and everything, it just doesn't make sense.
If you want to move to any country in general, if you can create the sense of community around you, I think it is worth it. I started doing dance classes because I danced back in the UK, and it's really nice just to kind of meet so many people who are exactly like me, who have the same love and same passions, and like I got all their Instagrams. I think creating a good support network around you is the best way for you to enjoy somewhere.
Today, no. I think it's so expensive. There's never a day you don't spend $100 or $50 in a day sometimes. It's just insane. And I don't even buy clothes and makeup, stuff like that much. So it's like most of the time you spend more on the food and drinks.
And bills.
Yeah, bills. There you go. That's the most important one. But right now, no. Choose somewhere else.
I think overall, yes. The whole world is getting more expensive, so expense shouldn't be a factor. And Canada has a lot of opportunities, so if you're smart and you work hard, it's definitely a good place to be.
I think there's an assumption in your question. You say, is it still worth it? I think it's very difficult for first-generation immigrants to actually make inroads in the economy. If you look at the data, children of immigrants do quite well. The participation rate in secondary or post-secondary education is much greater. I think it's difficult for first generation. Second generation, much better. And Canada still has a fair amount of hostility towards immigrants. There's racism, and I think as a result of that, it's even more difficult for first-generation immigrants to integrate, especially non-whites.
How have you noticed that?
I've noticed it in attitudes towards South Asian males, for example. They're characterized as being gangsters. I've noticed it in attitudes towards Asian immigration and assumptions that are made about their participation in real estate.
it is not worth it anymore. Quality of life isn't the same anymore. You can't even buy a home. The cost of a home, what's the average cost right now? $1 million for a home, roughly. An immigrant that comes here that doesn't have a lot of money, how are they going to do that? Life has just changed, period, all around. And for an immigrant to succeed here, it's going to take the time frame that you need to succeed is going to be a lot longer if you're coming here with next to nothing.
I guess it all depends on your quality of life, where you're coming from. If you can still have a good life in your country, it may not be the best. But if you are willing to take the challenges that it comes with it, I think it's worth it at the end. Be mindful that it's not an easy thing to do, like letting everything behind, everything that you know, your family and your friends, and like constructing a new life, building everything by yourself. It's hard, but it's also worth it. I guess that for everyone that is coming right now, it's like, I'm gonna get the PR, I wanna get the PR. When you get to the PR and you'll be like, oh my God, I really did it. Like, it's like, it's this feeling that, oh my God, it works.
It's not like a straight answer.
In your opinion?
Can I say both yes and no?
Yeah.
I'll start off with yes. Yes, because there's a lot of opportunities. Secondly, the healthcare. I know that might be changing soon because, they're trying to privatize healthcare. But as it stands, as it's still public, I think that's an amazing thing to have. Because if we look at our neighbors in America, they're like struggling with that. Also, it depends where in Canada too. Like I'll say, okay, in Toronto, it's a multicultural city. It's for everyone. Everyone can come here and they can feel safe because like they can find like their tribe. Outside of Toronto, I don't know about that.
And Toronto, what about on the other side, like on the no side?
The no side, I would say that no, in the sense that it's like becoming really expensive to live, especially in Ontario. I know the whole world, but in Canada in particular, it's like the rate is just absurd. It's crazy. So I think that it's hard to build a life here, especially for like, young people, millennials. You can't even buy a house. Like it's so expensive. Like you literally have to like pay an arm and a leg. And a lot of people are leaving and going back home.
Just want to say that the opinions of our guests are quite divided. So there's no right or wrong answer here, but it's on you to come here with the right mindset to make it worth it. If you find this video helpful and want to support me, then consider subscribing subscribing, as it helps this channel out a lot. Now let's see what challenges people have faced and how their lives have improved. What has been the biggest challenge you faced since immigrating to Canada?
I'd say loneliness. Sometimes, especially when you're in a city, it's like there's so many people, but no one's actually like there, like no one's present with each other. To make friends, it can be a little bit difficult. So like days like today, I'm just come to the park on my own.
Challenge was not able to get PR in the right time.
So there were a lot of delays with immigration.
Immigration is not good at all. A lot of spending all the time, lawyers, and then you have to take care of your English scores.
Buying a house, it was like pretty hard getting a mortgage approved and getting the down payment.
My first job opportunity was a very hard thing because like first thing like Amali, hey.
It's okay.
First thing is that you don't even know that many people here. At the beginning, I was very lucky that I got here through a student exchange agency. But I guess that like finding your first job and like finding housing these days, of course.
I think that you're not initially able to join the society at a level that you're previously used to with regards to your abilities, and you have to be patient and look for the right opportunities and meet the right people to be able to integrate yourself into society.
I'm trying to get PR.
What happened? Like, is it just getting delayed?
I am trying to find a place where it can sponsor me so that I can stay longer. But it's a kind of difficult to find a place where it can sponsor me. That make me feel not anxious, but I feel scared.
Well, I hope something works out.
Making friends, yeah, making friends. I think it's hard to, like leave your entire home and all your friends back home and then come to a new place and try to expect that same kind of warmth. I think that's a bit hard.
Would you say Canada is a bit more individualistic than back home?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
They faced poverty, let me say that, because back home we were doing well, and then they came to Canada and, it's like starting over again, and the opportunities, they were there, but they weren't being handed to us, and it was hard for us to obtain those opportunities, if that makes sense. So it was like a big financial struggle. Yeah, it was just hard to really settle in.
How has your life improved since you came to Canada?
Well, coming from where I came from a third world country. I didn't have a vehicle. I didn't have access to free healthcare, for example. I was poor. I didn't have any money, So being here, having a chance to employment, free healthcare. I feel like that has improved my my life.
Security, as I said, I wouldn't be going out with my dog in the street, sitting in the park back home because it's kind of dangerous. And here, even though with the crazy people on the street and all that, I still feel pretty safe.
Yeah. I like how you said crazy people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, honestly, at the time, what was going on in Iraq, I wouldn't have had the opportunities I would have had in Canada. So in Canada, obviously, once we got our citizenship and all that kind of stuff, it was really good for us. Being able to study here was really good too.
Right.
And then obviously being able to work and help family back home and stuff, that was always a good positive. So Canada has done a lot for me, and I have to thank them for that.
Both my mental and physical health is getting better since I came here because people living here, they are so chill. Work and life balance is really nice. I feel like people in Japan live their life to work, not to enjoy. But here people, I can see right now, people enjoy time with friends, family. They look so happy, and that makes me happy too.
Transit is amazing, so you can, if you don't feel like working, you can just go somewhere, nice scenic views, yeah.
How has your life improved since coming to Canada? If it has.
Yeah, it did in the beginning. So I met a lot of friends, and some of my closest friends is from my college, and I love them. I think building connection and friends and family is great here, and that's what I think I hold dear to my friends from college.
If you had to give any advice to someone in your country who wants to immigrate, or anyone who wants to immigrate to Canada, what would your advice be to them?
Make sure that you have enough money, a source of income before you come here, because things are very expensive, not to say a little expensive, very expensive. You won't get the same kind of warmth or same kind of connections over here, but it has its own pros and cons.
Just make sure you've got a lot of money because it can be quite expensive to get here and to live in a city. But if you want to move to the outskirts, I was in Ottawa for the start of it, it's a lot cheaper.
Open up yourself to new people. It's not easy, especially when you're older, to come to a new country. When you're in your 30s, it's harder than when you're in your early 20s because you already built a life. To know that you may not start from where you were before, but you can get there.
don't do it. You know, look, so one of the things I live by that I recently learned is everybody always thinks the grass is greener on the other side. Grass is greener where you water it.
Before you immigrate, look at the pros and cons. Look at the way of life in Canada. See if it suits you first. Obviously, your finance is important, so check that out before you decide to immigrate, because sometimes the grass is not always greener on the other side. Sometimes it's green where you are.
The advantage to being an immigrant is that you see things from a perspective that Canadians don't see it. And that is a great advantage. And you see that in entrepreneurs who've been successful, immigrants. But you'll always feel like you're an outsider playing an insider's game. That feeling of not quite belonging, because let's face it, you grew up in a different culture, in a different country. The assumptions that govern how you make sense of the world just don't apply anymore.
Play it out 1, 2, 3, 4 years in the future. Talk to family or people that you know. Do your research. Social media is actually a great tool that you could use, and listen to people's stories. They tell you about their troubles, how they've been able to overcome them if they can, sometimes their regrets. There are actually a lot of people that come end up leaving as well, I hear a lot. But just do your research and make sure it's a place for you to be.
I hope this video helps you decide if Canada is worth it or not. It does has its ups and downs, but if you do want to come here, make sure you're aware of your situation at home, how it will compare to your new life here, and what resources you have that will help you integrate into this new society. Thank you so much for joining the Kaizabi show, where we explore what it means to be a human in the modern world. If you vibe with the philosophy of this channel, then please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.